Oh my God.
Yo, we got 10 people already on.
They're about to
Hey
get
guys.
woke up.
It's Saturday morning. You guys know what that means. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Comics Pals. That crazy, is that a laugh, Tyler?
It's
Could they
okay.
hear that?
Do you ever watch the old Disney Goofy cartoons?
Ah,
Like
okay.
Disney, like
Yes.
Goofy sports shorts. Whenever he
Yes.
gets shot into like a Team Rocket style, and like, he just
Yeah.
does that Goofy scream.
Right.
No, no, no. You know what? If you've tuned into the Comics Pals pre 2022, that's actually Pete's laugh pitch shifted up.
It's slowed down.
Yeah, yeah.
That's real
How's it
good.
going,
That's
Marco?
real good.
It's auto tuned.
It's the echo.
Yeah.
Say hello as you join us live on Twitch. Speaking of which, Trapzord, thank you for the good morning. Good morning to you as well, and thank you, a big thank you, Trapzord, for the gift that I saw when I woke up in the morning. Checked my email, and I saw that you subscribed to us on Patreon. Thank you so much for doing that. Not
I
only
do,
did you subscribe, but you subscribed at $20. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Trapzord is a Trapzord like a Megazord, but like they're cooking in there.
Careful.
You know, like they're cooking. Is it like drugs in there? Is that what a Trapzord is?
That was my thought.
Don't worry, Cal. I wasn't going to go that way.
Well, I listen. I just,
Hey, Jacariah.
I think the worry
back.
is warranted.
Sure.
It is, especially after Wednesday. That green card reference, that was a little heavy,
Okay.
dude.
It was.
Oh, that was funny. Get out of here.
I mean, of course, I love stuff
See,
like that. I'm just trying to get at
yes,
Tyler.
it's drugs. Yes, it's drugs. I feel like a drug induced
Thank you,
Megazord.
Shenron.
A drug induced Megazord is just a Beetleborg.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You know what? Never thought about it before, but I 1,000% agree.
Yeah, I'm aligned. Hello, Shenron.
Beetleborgs.
Welcome. Good morning, or whatever it is where you are. I recognize that we have
Yeah.
a lot of
Is it?
international listeners. International to me, like maybe not to Kale necessarily, but
You have to work pretty hard to be international for me at this point.
right.
It's true. Yeah.
Have you been to every continent yet?
I think he's gonna end it
Missing
in Antarctica.
Africa and
Yeah.
Asia.
Okay.
Is Russia a
let's-
country?
Russia's a
A
country, yeah.
continent? Sorry.
No.
No.
A continent. Okay, yeah.
No.
So Africa and Asia.
And
That's
Antarctica,
what I say.
unless you've been there. Have you been to Antarctica?
Ooh, I looked into it because
I
New
bet you did,
Zealand,
yeah.
New Zealand's only 500 miles away,
Oh.
but it's not easy to make
They
it happen.
have a
Well-
karaoke bar there.
Oh,
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
Ezra Miller's gonna come for you.
Straight.
Better stop. And they're fast. That's the thing.
Mhm.
I think there's a comic, right? Kingdom Come, where the Flash just runs around
Yep.
and protects Central City, but you never see him.
Yeah.
That's Ezra. But Ezra is only looking for people who are doing karaoke and they're just getting them. That's it. So cut that out. We have a lot of show to do today. However, I do want to start. Oh, hey, Chillmonger, welcome. Thank you for joining. Kefis, thank you for joining. I do want to start the show by sending out a huge and honestly very very heartfelt thank you to every single person that joined us on Patreon. We announced it last week on the show, and you guys really came through. Honestly, it's amazing, and we've collectively done a show since then, and we've talked about it in our in our personal chat and stuff like that, just how incredibly grateful and thankful we are, how remarkable it is. I feel like a kid, when you wake up on Christmas and you're like, oh my god, what do we get? It's like, wow, what did wake up, and this morning I see, oh my god, Trapzord. The other day, oh my god, Kefis, oh my god, Matt, the first person to do it. Like, it's just so cool, this gift that you guys have given and all the support that you're showing. And we're gonna make it worth your while. I think we already have. We're putting out cool stuff, and we're going to continue to do that. And we want you guys to let us know what you want to see. If there's more stuff you want to see us doing, like, we're down. Yeah.
And here's the thing. We're not going to be like other podcasts. This is our promise. We're not going to dilute this show to make you sign up for more. It's all Comics Pals all the way, baby.
That's a great point. I'm glad you said that. Like, if you're not on Patreon, if you don't have intentions of doing that, if you're on the fence, that's cool. This show's not changing. This is not going to cost you money to listen to or to engage with or anything like that. If you're a fan of the book clubs, if you're a fan of Pals Pulls, that's always going to be available. This is just for extra stuff, early access stuff, a more intimate look. We just recorded our second episode of Palin Around. And we had a lot of fun, and I can't wait for you guys to get to hear that.
Went long on it too.
Sorry,
we went long on it too. I don't think we planned for it to be that long.
Yeah, we went long because we were just having such a good time. Like, they're supposed to be 30 to 40. We went about an hour, just because we as it turns out, believe it or not, we actually enjoy talking to each other.
Yo, what?
We're also, I was a little in the sauce.
I was a little sauced. Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do? So just expect us to keep putting out a lot of stuff. So we started the newsletter. I put out mine, and in it, I just kind of talk about my history with comics and stuff like that. So I posted a picture from Comic-Con. It had to be like 2008. Like it was my first or second. Yeah, it was my first or second Comic-Con. And I posted a picture of me and Tupac. Mm-hmm. I was able to snag a picture with him. I saw him walking around, and I was like, dude, I've been looking for you my whole life. What's up? Take a pic. I didn't expect to see you at Comic-Con. He's like, yeah, sure, man. So he took this picture with me. Now, Marco.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marco asked me in our chat, hey, Sean, was that really Tupac?
Dude, when I saw that message, I was flabbergasted.
And I was confused.
I didn't say anything.
You did it
because I didn't know how to respond to that, because I'm like, you know what? If this is real, I don't want to answer this question. I don't want to.
Yeah. Sean, you look like a bearded Jada Pinkett Smith next to Tupac in that one.
Wait.
She had a thing with Tupac before Will. Like Will's plan B.
Genuinely, I was confused. I'm like, didn't this guy die like years before this?
Okay,
I was confused.
Let's break this down.
I don't know anything, and I knew that.
And then to save face, I subscribed to the fact that Tupac actually isn't dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's out there along with Biggie. They're figuring.
There are people who believe that. Yes, Jacariah, absolutely.
He subscribed to it. He went, no. I'm not gonna look stupid right now.
Yeah,
this is what it is.
Yeah, and I'm one of those lead people into the now, conspiracies.
Sean. But Marco, you thought that Tupac is actually alive. He's in. I think the normal conventional thinking is that he's in hiding or he's on an island somewhere.
Cuba.
He's Cuba. Or smoking weed in Africa with Dave Chappelle. Like, that's another thing I heard.
Yeah.
But instead, you thought he would be out in the open at New York Comic Con.
Well,
East Side.
Taking pictures with me.
Just taking pictures?
Where else is he gonna be? You got the best place to hide is in the most obvious place, right? You got to go to Comic Con. If he's in New York,
he's gonna get shot again.
Shot at again. Difference.
Okay.
That is true. That is true.
Like if it was San Diego Comic Con, maybe Marco. I might have been with you.
Welcome, Sultan. Sultan says he's not really gone if we find a way to remember him. Absolutely. We keep him alive in our hearts and through cosplay, apparently. And Marco didn't know he was dead. So,
I knew, but I was confused because I saw in front of me with my own two eyes. That's how I do science now. What I can see,
Right. Yeah.
That's why Kale couldn't go to Antarctica, the ice wall.
Oh boy.
All right.
This is issue 1 of Department of Truth right here.
one of the promises of our Patreon, one of the things that we wanted to do for you guys is to give you a shout out live on the show. Thank you, a token of our appreciation for showing your support. And a part of that is giving you guys superhero or supervillain names. We took the liberty of, doing that, and we're going to share those names with you now. But for the first time for this week, since it's our first time shouting you all out, not only am I going to tell you the name, but I'm also going to tell you a little bit of the origin.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
So let's kick things off with the very first person to subscribe to our Patreon. And that is none other than the Mind Melter, Matt Murphy. Now, Matt Murphy is known for using his powers to melt the minds of others who are within range of his takes. His takes have been known to make mush of the brains of listeners all across the world. Now, does he use this power for good? Absolutely not.
No.
He uses this power to convince people to read comic books like The Ant.
I would go so far as to say that his own mind has been melted.
His own mind has indeed been melted. Yes.
Yeah, how are you going to melt minds without your own mind being melted?
Right.
That's fair.
Otherwise, he would use it for good. But unfortunately, he cannot because he is melted in the mind. Thank you, Matt. Next up, we have Thunderstruck, Rebecca Alejandro. Rebecca was unfortunately struck by lightning in New York. How does that happen? But instead of dying a horrible, terrible death, she actually gained the ability to control lightning and to use it for good, to save people by killing evildoers across the world.
You
Damn,
put a
not
lot of
even
emphasis
subduing?
on killing there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That was a little unnerving, I must say.
I like that the hook here is we have to wait and see if they're a hero or a villain too. That makes it exciting.
Well, this next one might trip you up a little bit because up next we have the Night Stalker, Harris Najinsky.
Is it
Yes.
that a serial killer?
Listen,
The Night
you tell me.
Stalker.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was killed multiple women, I believe,
It
in the
is.
70s.
Well, then I guess I don't have to say the origin. We all
Is he
know it
possessed
now.
by the original Night Stalker?
Yes.
Carl Kochak or something?
No, Ricardo Richard Lavia Munoz Ramirez.
Harris, that was Sean's
Jesus.
idea. That one was Sean's idea.
Listen, they're all my idea, okay?
So blame Sean.
Yes, blame me. So Harris, the Night Stalker Najinsky, traverses the New York streets in the middle of the night in stealth, complete stealth,
This is tracking still.
blending in with backgrounds in order to save New York City from the evildoers, right? From the real creeps who are attacking our train system and men and women at night. The Night Stalker. Thank you, Harris.
It's a positive stalker.
Boy, that was a ride.
Yeah.
At any moment, I really expected to swerve.
Yeah.
He's protecting the city from women.
Because Lord knows We need protection from women. And if anyone's there to do it, it is Harris. Believe me. Up next, we have Brian the Demolisher Del
Nice.
Pozo.
Oh, I can see that.
If that sounds wrestling to you, it's because Brian is a huge wrestling fan. Thank you, Brian. So Brian is actually, by night, a wrestler. The Demolisher is his wrestling moniker, okay? He does the tri-state area circuit as the Demolisher. But later night, Brian Del Pozo uses his powers to steal money from banks
Oh,
and other institutions as the Demolisher.
He's a
think the
hero.
most.
He is
Yeah.
not a hero. He is a heel.
I'm
Oh,
kind of
sorry.
with Cal on this one. Yeah. Is it Big Banks?
He's a heel.
His biggest arch rival is Bailout.
Up next, we actually have a duo. We have Julissa the Jaguar and Random Rocio, the Courageous Kunaladas.
a
That sounds like a wrestling tag team.
Yeah, it does.
It
I
sure
was
does.
just thinking the same thing.
So, unfortunately, the
Gave
Kunaladas.
birth to Marco.
Wait. How? Never mind. Unfortunately, the Kunaladas underwent a horrific experiment at the hands of the government. What they didn't realize, what the government did not realize, is that it would give each of them powers. Julissa is as fast as a jaguar. Random Rocio has no control of her powers. We don't actually know what power she'll have from day to day. But when the Kunaladas unite, and there are more than two, there are many, they are legion. When they unite, their powers are enhanced. So they work better together. And they are very courageous, and they save the city every day as the Courageous Kunaladas. Thank you so much.
that's the superpower. Lead in Legion.
There you
Everywhere,
go.
bro.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Up next, we have Kephis the Incorruptible.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, whose arch rival is the Mind Melter, of course. Obviously.
Matt came here a little late. Matt,
So did
you
Harris.
are the
Yeah,
mind
Harris
melter.
just popped up too.
Harris,
Oh,
don't. Well, just watch it later.
oh my God. Yes. So if you're just joining us, and I'm giving Patreon members who subscribe to the $10 tier or more their superhero or supervillain names. Matt, you are the Mind Melter. You'll have to listen to find out why. Harris, you're the Night Stalker. You'll have to listen to find out why.
Matt, don't worry. The mind melting powers did not cause your lazy eye. There's not a
No, I would
there.
not. That's silly. Anyway, Kephis the Incorruptible. Kephis has the power to overcome any and all negative influence in a world that is being dragged down into chaos by villains such as the Mind Melter and the Demolisher. Kephis stands above all of that and can actually use his powers to influence other people to do good. He's
go.
changing
he's-
the world.
So he's
with
not
his-
a politician.
No,
No.
he's changing the world with his good takes and his nice guy status. Thank you, Kephis, for being
Good
one of the
takes.
good guys.
Good takes, good intentions.
So
That's
Harris,
right.
Harris in the chat says, "I already know why I am the Night Stalker," and I gotta say, that might be the most suspect thing that's ever been in this chat.
I want to know why you think you're the Night Stalker. That's what I want to know. And I also like that you said you know why you are the Night Stalker,
Ooh, yeah,
not
that's
why
true.
I named you that.
It's present tense.
So next we have the Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89.
A
Hyper Viper is regaled across the galaxy as the Great Destroyer because Hyper Viper destroys evil the galaxy over. Yes, absolutely. Hyper Viper travels through space and collects powerful artifacts and weapons from different planets to use them to liberate the next planet. And one day, due to the Great Destroyer, evil will be vanquished. Thank you, Hyper Viper, aka
like how
Justin on the Discord.
You've turned the Palsverse into a cosmic thing now, and now we got our own Darkhawk knockoff. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, we're all over. Yeah, we are all over.
Street level, cosmic, mystical next.
We're not quite at mystical. Next up, we have Momentum, Mike Elliott. So Momentum is not unlike Juggernaut in that, listen, Mike might like sitting on the couch, all right? Mike might like to hang out, chill. But if Mike is watching the news and Mike sees that there's crime happening, Mike's going to get that momentum going. And once that happens, they're unstoppable. You can't stop Mike from stopping evil in cities across America. Thank you, Momentum, Mike Elliott.
damn, that's a power that can replace antidepressants. let me grab that one.
That's his
Is that,
secondary mutation.
Is that Sultan?
Yes.
Oh, rat.
Yes.
Oh,
Shout
Canada
outs.
in that case.
Yeah. Yes. Canada. Saving Canada.
Saving lives in Calgary.
Yeah.
Canada, put your maple leaves up. Whoa,
We're
whoa.
international. Up next is Starcross Catherine Stars. So, as a youngster, as a regular human, Catherine endeavored to travel the world, see as much as she could see. One day, after an alien crash landed on Earth, Catherine was bestowed with the power to jump across planets. And so Catherine spends her days traveling across the universe by jumping from planet to planet. No one has seen more of the universe than Catherine, and she actually regales us with her stories by writing them down and has changed Earth by telling us about technology and the ways of other planets across the universe. So thank you for that, Starcross Catherine Stars.
When she does this, Sean, is there a nice like heroic leap sound effect going on?
Yes, it's actually really cool. I've heard it.
Yeah, got it.
They're a mix of America Chavez's Gates and like Kirby's stars.
Yeah.
The ones
I was
you
thinking,
spin them and he rides or whatever.
I was thinking Frogman mixed with Silver Surfer, but that makes more sense, Cal.
I'm weary of frog-based characters. I don't know why. Matt says, why everyone got a nice name and I'm the mind melter? Dude,
You know why.
I think it's cool. Last but certainly far from least, indestructible Indy Aaron, aka Trap Sword. Dude, this is a person who cannot be harmed. Cannot be harmed. As a child, they had, unfortunately, a life-threatening illness.
Ooh.
And an experimental drug saved them from that illness, but it also made them impervious to pain in all forms. And so now they use their powers for evil.
Oh, got me.
Okay. Nice swerve.
Yes. And because they are indestructible and cannot be harmed, it's impossible to stop them. None of the heroes on our list have yet found a way to put down indestructible Indy Aaron. Thank you so much to you.
I will say, with with that power set, you could actually own some cats because I don't know if you can see it. I have a huge gash on my nose for playing with my cat yesterday.
Oh no.
And my hands are all scarred up from having cats. So that's what I would use that power set for.
Yeah.
Unreal. Thank you guys so much. Every single one of you that I just shouted out. A couple of people that I didn't, just because of the tier thing. Still, thank you so much. Dan Trudeau. Thank you so much, Henry Kunalata. You guys are fantastic. We love you. We appreciate you. You are now the lifeblood of what we're doing. And again, we promise so much more great content to come. There's a lot more show to do, obviously. So with that all said, we're going to get into the rest of it. Plugs. If you want to watch this very show live, we are live on Twitch every single Saturday at 10:15 Eastern. Come start your weekend with the pals by watching this show. It also drops on every other platform Mondays, every Monday. If you're not watching live, catch us on Mondays. YouTube, podcast platforms, wherever. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern for Pals Pulls. We are doing it on Thursdays now. Hopefully, you guys will join us live. If you don't join us live, we do post on Fridays on YouTube and audio platforms all over the place. Our next book club is Doctor Strange The Oath, to tie into the upcoming movie, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I've not read this before, so this should be fun. It should be fun.
Pretty. It is a pretty book.
Yeah, it's good.
Marcos Martin, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff.
Also, you should come hang out with us on our Discord. There's Discord integration now. We are working to make it, something cool for our Patreon members. We do have that going on now. So if you're on our Patreon already, you can take advantage of that. But otherwise, there's always a great conversation going on over there. In fact, some of the questions that we have this week are from Discord, and the main topic was actually directly inspired by a Discord question that came from Kefis.
Wow.
So yeah,
Talk about
questions
incorruptible.
exactly.
There it is.
So you never know. Maybe your Discord question will inspire the next main topic. Depends on how lazy I feel. Anyway,
Also, typically, if we don't respond to your comment in the Discord, we're probably going to use it for something.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the show somehow.
yeah. I personally try to never respond to questions in the Discord because I know that you guys listen, and I would rather give you the response here.
I'm busy a lot, so
Kale is only in the Weeb channel.
Kefis says, "Yo, I think the pals need powers too." Well,
yeah. I was curious about that. What are we in this universe? Are we like the are we like the J. Jonah Jamesons in that we're like the the news givers? Or are we more like the Eternals or the new gods or something?
interesting.
Am I Jimmy Olsen?
Well, yes,
you
but
say something
that's
about me?
beside the point of the question.
If we're going to be news reporters, obviously I have to be the J. Jonah Jameson, but the version from the Marvel Spider-Man, the one who's basically Alex Jones.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Jack Ryan says the Watchers.
That's cool. I like.
I don't
that.
want
I'd
good
like
bald.
to be
I'd
watched.
rather not.
Yeah, I don't know about me bald. Actually, I don't know about any of us bald.
Sean, I think you can pull off bald.
I guess I'm probably the closest to that in terms of
Marco
being
might be
to-
able to. He'll look like binging with Bobbish, but it's fine.
That's such a specific food reference.
I thought you would get it. That's why.
You guys tell us. We told you your powers. You tell us. And by the way, if anybody feels like they want to subscribe to our Patreon during this episode, we will absolutely give you a power. We'll stop what we're doing to give you a power during the episode. But moving along, because we do have more show to do, let's get into the listener comments.
Yes, so I had to put up our good friend Wildcat there.
Director
So we got
Wildcat.
We had a comment from patron Matthew Murphy. Got a question for the pals after my experience at one of my local comic shops just now. There was a buy one, get one 50% off sale. I was able to pick up One Piece Volume 99. Holy shit.
Damn.
And Boruto Volume 14 for $16.
My mind is melted.
Right? And Boruto Volume 14 for $16 total. I went to check out the new Infernal hardcover, and it was $40. $40 for 4 issues. There were more pages in the latest volume of One Piece than in that hardcover. Hell, House Powers is a $75 hardcover with 3 times the issue length. My question is, knowing the paper shortage and inflation is ongoing, do you feel like escalating comics costs have made you more hesitant to pick up a collection that would have otherwise been a day one purchase before COVID?
I think that's why I don't pick up collections. If I've been reading it I've been reading it month to month, that's the format it's going to stay in. I'm not going to purchase anything additionally. Worse, because I pick it up in digital. I can't even hold the thing, right? Like, what am I going to get? The hardcover and the trade paperback and it's the same content? No, right? Like, I will say I think the quality of paper and the added fact that it's color and there's different weight to that is why there's usually a difference between manga and comics. But even then, I don't think it's justified. And it sucks even more when you pick it up, you can't feel the quality, and it's the same ass thing as a manga, and you're just kind of like, all right.
I only get to go to the comic store twice a year, so I don't really have an answer for this question.
Like for me, I typically only pick up like collected editions like Inferno. I mean, sorry, comic book shops, but I pick them up online at like in stock trades or something like that, where I can get them at the wholesale price, because it is fucking expensive, And even then, I'm more of an omnibus collector. I think, in my opinion, that's more bang for my buck, and it looks a little nicer on a bookshelf. For me, typically, if it's like a book club book, I'll pick that up too. But now I actually subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, like 2 weeks ago. And like that felt like that. What was it? I did like the pro thing, so it was like $99, but that's a whole year, and I can read everything.
What's the difference in subscription there?
Mine came with it has like a physical box that has a Kitty Pryde Marvel Legends action figure.
Oh,
that
cool.
I
Okay.
wanted, so Also has a Peach Momoko Polaris cover that came with it.
Ooh,
that's good.
I like that.
There was incentive there. There are much better, cheaper versions of that you can do.
So I actually bought the Inferno hardcover that you're referencing this week at Midtown, Matt, and I didn't blink. The only reason I say that is because I feel like hardcovers in particular, especially of events like that, always run a little bit more expensive. $10 an issue is definitely, sort of steep, but I think the series was probably like $6 or $7 an issue. And then when you add on the fact that it is a hardcover, I mean, look, is it reasonable? I don't think the price of comics is reasonable in general, but given where the price of comics have been for the last few years, it didn't strike me as odd. I think if you want to read Inferno and you balk at the price, that's fair. I think you wait for the trade, which will bring the price down probably, somewhere in the realm of $10 to $15. And that's a little more reasonable. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that this is not the example Inferno. I think something like if it was just a regular volume of a story and it was this price for 4 issues, that would be wild. And again, comics should not be this expensive, but
we're going to get into it a little more. I think we'll definitely touch on that in our later topic that Kev has brought up. But the whole idea that manga is so much more accessible from a price point, just for everyone, which lets that medium kind of grow, is I think a valid thing.
Well, yeah, we'll get into it. Right.
Yeah. Yep. Next up.
All right. So next up, we had a question from Dan Trudeau. It's interesting how the torch for original creator-owned stories have been passed over the years. It started in the 90s with self-published books by new creators and Dark Horse for established creators. Karen Berger turned Vertigo into the place following that. Image picked up the banner until recently. Now no one publisher seems to have their hands around it in the same way. I don't know if this will put IDW in the driver's seat or if that's even possible in such a fragmented market, but it's a good shot at it.
This was a good point. I definitely like the comparison made between Vertigo and Image, and where it being the space for those kinds of books, 100 Bullets, Preacher. You have that kind of out there content enough so that you would see a book and be like, oh yeah, that feels like a Vertigo book. There's like a style to it, and I think even on the early Image stuff, like in the early tens, right before Saga, you were seeing a lot of kind of sci-fi stuff and some horror, and that was kind of like, oh, those feel like Image books, and it was the space for it. And I think you're right. I don't know that there's a concise place at the moment because so many publishers now are starting to offer if they're not starting to offer like some sort of imprint, they're offering you the ability to just publish whatever you want. And it's been advantageous for those companies. I think there was probably a time a few years back where the indie space, like Black Mask, was really coming up, Black Crown, but it doesn't look like they have the money for it. So I think it makes sense that an IDW, a Boom, and a Dark Horse are probably going to be the places where you can keep doing that because they have that capital and they have the space to be able to do so. Because you want to bring creators in, let them do whatever they want. Dark Horse, Boombox has Boom has Boombox for like YA stuff, which has been really good. IDW with this new launch, and then Dark Horse has all the Jeff Lemire things within that superhero universe. So I think the potential now is just finding the one publisher that's going to really capitalize on a successful book.
Do you think we'll ever get that publisher again? Like we had Image in 2012 with the Boom, or the Vertigo stuff that defined indie stuff for so long. Or is it all too spread now?
I mean, you can make the argument for Substack as being like the place where people are going.
The next step.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think we need to keep an eye on Substack. I don't think it's there yet, but I think a lot of those announcements and stuff we haven't seen the results of that yet. So it's still brewing. But the thing is, like, I don't know if we'll ever see like an Image like that again, because at what point does the indie comics?
I definitely don't think we'll see an Image like that.
Yeah, well, but at one point does like the indie comics thing become too big, where then it just becomes another big corporation that's just making IP to then funnel them into non-comics media. Like, I feel like that's always a trajectory. It's like, all right, well, now our stuff got really popular. Let's make it into movies and TV shows, and let's just farm it out for that instead. I don't know.
I mean, that is the next step, though, right? Like, you have to build that pipeline because that's going to help support the books to a larger audience. You have to make that sacrifice.
Gun to my head, though, I would say like an IDW or a Boom are more equipped to kind of fill that space. I'm thinking of things like Once and Future or Seven Secrets, stuff like that, kind of already out there and laying the groundwork for that.
I think if it's going to happen at all, it'll be Boom. Boom has put their money where their mouth is as far as this goes, and they have snapped up big books by creators who are not, or maybe they are now, but weren't necessarily the A-list creator at the time where their book came out. I'm thinking about Tom Taylor and James Tynion specifically. Mm-hmm. And as long as they can keep doing that, because they've got Rom V stuff as well, I believe. Yeah. As long as they can keep doing that, I think they will continue to be that space. Substack is too inaccessible to be that. It's too fragmented in the sense that it's not one unified thing. You have to pay for each individual thing, and the books aren't on shelves yet, except for actually no, except for nothing. None of them are
not yet.
None of them are on shelves.
And you're right. Rombi had Many Deaths of Lila Starr, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. So
and they even have the Keanu Reeves book,
right,
which blew up for them.
Indie darling Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Berserker.
So yeah, I would put my money on Boom. I think IDW is going to be for more of the like up and coming creators, and it's great because like Vault is a great example of a company that would do a book that's like kind of like a prestige book in the sense that it's an indie kind of heady book, like what's the one by it's the one with the writer who's a liar.
Fearscape.
Thank you.
Ryan
Fearscape.
Sullivan.
Right.
That's
Thank
Vault.
you. Yeah, I believe so.
Vault book.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I think IDW is bigger than Vault, but they could publish a book like Fearscape and give more of a platform to it than Vault can. Even though that was one of Vault's bigger hits, it's still Vault. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, I mean they also have Rombi, Radio Apocalypse, and then a Cy Spurrier book, The Rush. Like they have people there doing things, and more so in this sort of second wave, because the first wave of stuff was pretty good. And now they've just gotten more people on board. Yeah, Vault's on the come up.
Joe Monger says maybe if all the Substack writers weren't paid up front, they'd be hungrier. Maybe. I mean, most of them are already rich, comics rich at least, in the sense that they
which means they have an affordable living wage.
Yeah, they're the top tier. Like Jonathan Hickman, Scott Snyder, and Tom King are not hungry. In the sense that like they eat. And when you subscribe to their Substack, if it's a comic Substack, which obviously Scott's is not, you are doing it because you like the work that they already do. Whereas Ryan O'Sullivan, you definitely a hungry, creator, not going to generate nearly the same kind of subs as one of them, even if you could argue his books are better because of that hungry factor. Thank you. Because of that hungry factor that you just described. By the way, check out Chillmonger's YouTube channel, just Chillmonger. Always putting out awesome videos. In fact, they put out a video just this week. It was really cool. It was really cool, but I'm blanking on the title.
I think you had the title, but you sneezed it out and you lost it.
Yeah. Actually, I do.
There.
Yeah,
check,
you just look
check
to
your hands. It might be in there.
Yeah, check to the right there. You might.
It was the Sam Wilson fans should view this video.
Okay.
And just talking about, because we did a video together and we talked about what Marvel could do for some of their black characters, Sam Wilson, of course, being one of them. And so Chill had a lot to say about this new era for Sam back as Captain America. So check that out. Next comment. This one, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
So this is a Necro comment. This is Patrick Patterson commented on episode 47. So this is 240 episodes ago. I wasn't even born yet.
I know. 47. I think I was here the first time 5 years ago.
So,
wow, really?
Yeah.
Full circle.
I guess there was a G.I. Joe conversation on this episode. I probably listened to it, but I could not fucking tell you what happened. So he says, 4 years late, but it's really obvious who has and who hasn't read G.I. Joe. Insulting to refer to the book only about white guys killing ambiguous Muslims. A book written largely by an Asian man with multiple ethnic and gendered characters. Comics Pals jumped the shark on this one. You jumped the shark episode 47?
That one?
That early? Damn, all right.
Jumped the shark early. Jeez. Comics Pals jumped the shark on this one by diving into SJW politics. There it is. Rather than deep diving into what G.I. Joe really is and the foundation and mythos that make it beloved by its loyal fan base. I'll take the show's own advice and bye. Don't need to listen to your show and its uninformed agenda bias. I think I won alt-right bingo on that one.
Yeah, for real.
Can I do my thing? Can I get on my soapbox real fast?
Try to pull out the soapbox when you get the soapbox under Sean. Do it right now.
Do we think that this guy sympathizes with Jada?
You want
to expand that one?
The G.I. Jane joke? No? Okay.
Oh, okay. G.I. Jane is not related to G.I. Joe, Marco. I'm sorry.
Is it not? Well, see, there you go. I don't know anything. No. He's right.
What up?
You don't know
fucking walk, man.
You thought Tupac was alive in 2008. You think G.I. Joe and G.I. Jane are related. All right, listen. Listen, Pat Patterson, okay? First of all.
Wait, is this the Pat Patterson?
Off that alone. It might be. Who knows?
Or did he die? I don't know.
Before he died. He was alive 5 years ago. First of all, I think that you jumped the shark with this comment. The second you reference SJW anything, you jumped the shark. It sounds stupid. I'm sorry. It just does. Whenever someone says SJW, agenda bias, all those words, you just sound dumb. Those are dog whistles for stupidity. They just are. That's how you let me know whether you're smart or dumb.
There was almost a decent argument here.
Yep.
No, there wasn't. You know why? Because this person didn't even understand the point that we were trying to make on that episode. Yes, I do remember the episode. Yes, I do remember the point. And the point was that fans of G.I. Joe were mad that there were new characters being introduced and that characters were being changed to update G.I. Joe with modern times. No one said that the book only featured white dudes killing ambiguous Muslims. What was said was that that's what the fans who were bitching wanted the book to be. Not that that's all that it was. So you don't even listen well. But even more stupid, how do you know that's when we jumped the shark? You listened to that shit 5 years late, dude. You don't know when that's when we jumped the shark. What if we jumped the shark on the first episode? What if we jumped the shark the time that we reviewed Star Wars The Last Jedi? There's so many times that we could have potentially jumped the shark. You don't know. You have no clue what you're talking about. And also, what bias are you talking about? Have you seen the color of my skin? What bias do you think I have, dummy? Get with the program. I say bye to you.
I will say, if he's a fan of the old G.I. Joe comics, I assume he's talking about the Hama ones.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Because
if you want SJW, it was in those books. Like,
right.
It's a complete misunderstanding of the source material there.
And even still, the whole controversy, right, was about Aubrey Sitterson, wasn't it?
It was about,
I think.
Yes, exactly. Right. Complete fool. Anyway, moving along.
Episode 47. This dude dug up this fucking episode.
He was.
Oh, I think I'll look up some G.I. Joe content today.
G.I. Joe podcast.
By the way,
why doesn't my wife love me? You know, like.
I do want to say one more thing before we move on. I will not shred you like that if you make a reasoned argument. If you want to discuss our takes on anything, if you feel like we said something that was uninformed or whatever, that's cool. We can talk about that. But if you're going to throw those buzzwords around and all that jazz, I'm not even mad that the dude didn't like the show. That's fine. I don't care. That's cool. We can talk about that.
We don't even like the show.
I like the show. But don't come here and talk about SJWs and agenda biases and stuff like that. We're never going to react well to that. All that shit's stupid. Come correct or don't come at all. When you come at the king, you best not miss. Don't try me.
Don't punch
I'm
up.
not the one. Yeah.
All right. So we have another comment by It Lies in the Noggin on episode 286. It's the IDW conversation. So It Lies in the Noggin said, the IDW news is interesting and a step in the right direction. 2012 to 2019 Valiant offered something similar with 9 monthly books tied together to give the best continuity comics at the time. Each book doing something different, from sci-fi horror, buddy cop to humor, and so on. It was very successful. I remember that. It was good. Another way they're similar is with their new talent. Valiant at one point was bringing in known and new talent, creating amazing work. It was a great alternative for creators not messing with the big two on a full-time basis. The IDW books seem interesting, and I hope they do well. Did you guys check out the Thor and Stranger Things trailers? I don't know about you. I don't know about yous, but I'm excited.
Don't know about yous.
He specifically wrote intentional Brooklyn accent. Don't know about yous, but I'm excited. Take care, my dudes. Keep doing what you do.
Tyler, I was going to chop that part of the comment out.
No, I like direction.
But I knew that you would do that, and that's why I kept it in, because I wanted to hear that.
That's what I did in college. I would write stuff in this in my scripts, like, oh, do this in a certain voice. Mm-hmm. I made my professor read about fisting with a rubber fist. Class loved that one.
Okay.
Wait, you made him
read
about fisting with a rubber fist?
I wrote an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia script. Pre-Mac in the show coming out as gay, where it was like heavily implied, but he wasn't fully aware of it. So there was some a fist involved that he thought was a portable punch.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now.
I hope it was like the Hulk smash fist.
No, it was like one these things or one of these things, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Can you no? Okay, no. Listen.
No?
So, anyway, I need my way in with Valiant. I don't know where to start. There were books that they had announced that are coming out, I think, across the summer or something like that. And I might jump on with those because they look kind of interesting. But I keep hearing about Valiant. Matt talks about Valiant, but I don't know what to buy.
He's given me recommendations many a time, and I've just not pulled the trigger on stuff.
The stuff from around that time, you're pretty safe with getting. Yeah. I think I was a fan of Archer and Armstrong and Quantum and Woody, which were two kind of... Quantum and Woody's essentially... No. Quantum and Woody's essentially a jokier Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Okay.
Yeah, Sean doesn't like comedy, so...
That's true.
Yeah.
Actually, I really like comedy. I just don't like comedy television shows.
Sean, I pulled up one of the recommendations. I saved it. Bloodshot Reborn. It's Lemire. Bloodshot Salvation, also Lemire, and then Ninjak is Clayman on art.
That yeah, that was like Clayman during his Gambit phase. Remember when he did Gambit? So it was colored a little like a LaRocca or a Greg Land, where I don't think whoever was coloring him at the time was really getting his style. It was good, but not modern Clayman.
Speaking of the Thor trailer, we're gonna talk about that right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for all the questions. Really appreciate them. Keep them coming every single week. We love to read your questions. Took a while to get through them, but we love to do it. So keep them coming. Let's talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. This is the longest I think we've ever waited for a trailer for a Marvel movie. So this, I believe this is correct, that this is the closest to the release of a film that a trailer has dropped, like a brand new trailer, because the movie comes out July 8th. So there's not a lot of time between now and then. And we still haven't seen Doctor Strange. So it's a very short, tight timeline between films here. And I really would love to know what took the trailer so long to drop. But anyway, let's watch it now.
Sure. Let me
let's go ahead and get that copyright strike right out of the way.
Yep, let's do it.
Out the gate.
Yep. Can the listeners hear the trailer, or is it just us?
They should be able to hear it, yeah.
Cool. So right there was a sequence of Thor running through the woods, and it's like him from a child to adulthood, and they slipped in his old costume, old comics costume, which was pretty cool to see. This trailer is buck wild energy. Thor, working out to lose his weight from Endgame.
Dude, I love Forrest Gump reference.
And I love the hat, the Thunderstrike kind of costume he's got going on there.
Mm-hmm.
The goat boat.
Swashbuckling Thor.
Yeah, that's
We're
good
totally
stuff.
gonna get DMCA'd for the fucking music.
Yeah, especially for the music. Yep.
Yeah, he's probably.
But like
not play
good
the
song,
music.
good song choice. That's fun.
I don't know. I want to like it. It's
Come on,
too
it's
Guardians for
80s.
me.
I mean, there's literally the Guardians in it.
Yeah. But you know they're only going to be there for like 10 minutes.
It's gonna be first act. Yeah.
Yeah. Barely first act.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And then of course the moment we were all waiting for, Natalie Portman as Thor.
Well,
jacked.
the real star of the show are those damn arms.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Woo.
Yo,
Cannons.
Yeah, she is friggin' jacked.
Yep.
Oh, and there's my recommended stuff again. Screen Crush, always winding up in my recommended stuff.
There's
71 Easter eggs? My ass.
Oh no, he manages to do it.
there's a lot to talk about in that little trailer. First of all, 209 million views in 24 hours.
Wow.
Pretty big.
People are hype.
Yeah, very successful. People waiting for this trailer hotly. So there's a moment where Thor is standing next to Korg, and there's very clearly an open space. Thinking that's Hercules.
Hercules.
Oh, interesting. I've seen Beta Ray Bill.
That's what I was
floating
feeling.
around. Yeah.
I'm feeling Beta Ray Bill.
Zeus
But I
is
guess
in
a
the movie.
god would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sean?
So the idea is that Gore the God Butcher probably kills Zeus and all the other like gods from Olympus,
Oh, interesting.
and that Hercules doesn't die. Maybe he was away gallivanting, since he is like the Thor analog for that world or for that.
Who?
Like,
There. Do you guys know who John? Oh God. Kale. He plays Gino, the intern in Comedy Bang Bang.
Gabris. John Gabris.
Yeah, John Gabris has been petitioning to be Hercules. He's like, yo, just put me on the diet, you put Kamel on, and I can do it. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
that would be so
That would
good.
be
So I hope it's not
incredible.
Hercules, so they can give him that role.
yeah, I think it's probably Hercules. I think Beta Ray Bill is still in the wings.
I feel like we will spend a decent amount of time on Sakaar in this again, and I think Beta Ray Bill is there.
Hope you're right. I would love to see Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill's the man.
Because it also looks like in that scene that it looks like the part where the Guardians are lifting off and we're watching Thor and Korg, say goodbye. So it makes sense to me that Bill or someone would be there.
I got a better theory. It's Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Whoa.
That's why they blanked out space there. Yeah.
That melted my mind. Catherine Stars asks, wait, so is this the God Butcher stuff? Yeah, Christian Bale's playing Gore the God Butcher. The toys have actually spoiled how he might look, and if the toys are how the character's gonna look, it's bad.
That is how the characters look. Those toys are in hand for a lot of people. So yeah.
Bad. Also, there's a moment in the trailer that is literally ripped right out of the comics from the Jason Aaron, Asad Rabich Thor story. It looks amazing on screen, like absolutely gorgeous. Also amazing and gorgeous in the comics. Wonder how much Assad got paid for that. Bet you the answer is not a lot. Sorry.
Hot dog and a handshake.
Well, yeah, they get like $500 for it, don't they?
Something like embarrassing like that.
I think it's like $4,000 I've seen.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, 4,000 or 5,000. Which is that's obviously like that's a decent payday for work that you did a while ago that's being featured in a movie. But when you know that movie is going to bank, maybe $500 million, probably for this, probably closer to that $700 million range, and you know that you only got $5,000 of that, that's a feels bad moment. Don't really want to get into the whole pay creators thing. We've done that. We know it. Pay creators, yes. Just sucks.
And also, you're essentially giving him free storyboarding, like at that point, you know?
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
When I interviewed for this master screenwriting class, I got a bad vibe from the professor because he went, well, I like to tell my students that, if they can't get their big, massive idea off the ground, they should go do a graphic novel. Oh, ooh. I don't know.
Goose chills. Russell Crowe as Zeus. I just love that. That's so funny.
Is that Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
You excited now?
That'll be good. No.
I get it, Kale. I get it. Because you know what?
I don't know if you do get it.
Well, let me wrap. The last Thor Ragnarok, it was cool, but the energy, I don't know, man. Like,
really,
I don't want that anymore. Yeah, I like it. I like a little more serious from Thor.
You like your Thor to be like the Straczynski run.
Yeah, a little
fantasy.
More. Yeah, high fantasy, big epic action that's taken seriously, stuff like that. I think it's a Marvel movie, so there should always be humor involved. And Thor: The Dark World was too much darkness and seriousness, but I think there's a way to strike a balance between that and Thor Ragnarok, and this movie went all the way to the left. So yeah, not my
this trailer did.
The trailer did. Yeah. I think this is emblematic of the movie's vibe. I would have to guess.
I really enjoyed Ragnarok. It's one of the few MCU films that I feel like I can go back to. I don't, but I feel like I can. But this trailer, I don't know if it's this one specifically. Like maybe they're leaning too hard on the Guardian stuff. With the music and I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
I think they've sort of solidified the Thor character, and I think if he's leaned into some of that goofy stuff, and I think if that's not appealing for the character for you, that's probably where it loses people, because there's the one bit where he like pokes his head out because he's looking at Chris Pratt,
Star-Lord, yeah,
Chris Pratt,
yeah.
Mario.
I'm like, it's in
Garfield.
those moments. It's in those moments I'm just like, okay, like it's fun the first time, but they're still keeping up with that, and I kind of want a little bit different because I'm assuming he's also grown since Endgame. I want to see that.
Nah, no growth.
Kel, what if
that's the MCU, no growth.
What if I recut this trailer, but not recut it, but instead of Guns N' Roses on it, it was Adam Scott from Step Brothers doing this song when they're in the car, the family in the car.
I would be interested in that.
See,
So we can talk.
I think that'd be a little better. Yeah.
What's your excitement level, guys? Chat, pals, what are we feeling? I'm hyped for the movie because of the Mighty Thor.
Buff Natalie Portman, easy, but also I'm a big Taika Waititi fan, especially like I don't know if you guys have checked out Our Flag Means Death.
I have HBO Max. I want to watch it so bad.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's a pirate comedy show. So Sean's way off not doing that one.
Yeah.
But he plays Blackbeard in it.
Blackbeard.
And it's fantastic. Taika has a way of getting like to a real emotional core, but being goofy as shit during it. But it's like a little awkward, a little cringe. I enjoy it. Does it work on a big budget superhero movie? Some people would say no. But I have a lot of fun with it, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I too am looking forward to swashbuckling Thor.
Essentially, yeah.
Sultan says, this is it though, right? Hemsworth is done and no way Portman's signing up for more going forward. So hype. Jacariah is hyped. I think Chris Hemsworth is going to stick around. There's been some rumors floating that this will be his last at bat, that he'll die. But he suggested before that he's having a lot of fun with this iteration of Thor, and this only just kicked off in Endgame. Yeah. Well, Ragnarok. and Endgame. So I would be kind of surprised if he hung it up. But you might be right. I'd be sad though, because I feel like no matter how I feel about the Thor movies, clearly the Thor character has only found his footing as one of the top stars of the MCU now. I think Thor was a little bit lame before. Now Thor's cool. And so I think they're probably going to want to play with that a little more. And they'll pull up the Brinks truck for Chris Hemsworth to keep him around, especially if this movie does as well as it probably will.
And Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans not really being around either. So
right, you need that heavy hitter from a star power standpoint and a character standpoint. But let's move on. We'll talk more about Thor later in the coming months.
Love this poster too. I really think it's a cool poster. Just while it's up. Cool.
Yeah.
It's not a floating heads poster like every other goddamn poster out there.
Yeah.
So everybody's excited for the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, the Academy Award winning movie, animated film that featured Miles Morales and a host of different Spider-Men from across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, of course, being the name of the sequel that was supposed to be dropping October 7th, 2022, part 1 of 2. It's been delayed by 8 months to June 2nd, 2023, which, of course, has to feel bad for anybody who is looking forward to this film. Originally, though, like pre-COVID, it was supposed to come out April 8th. So it was delayed all the way to October and then again to June 2nd. And they announced the release date for the part 2, which will come out almost an entire year later, March 29th, 2024. That's rough.
Wow, we're not going to be alive by then.
No, this world's not even going to be here.
Go ahead.
I think it's fine. Like if this means that the creators and the animators can not deal with crunch, I'm all for it. I think this fall and winter is going to be a bit of a dead zone for comic book movies. I think because the DC stuff got pushed back as well. So that kind of sucks if like this is like your thing that you go to the movies for, which I think for a lot of people this is like the thing they go to the movies for. It's like big comic book movies. Everything else they can watch somewhere else. So yeah, it kind of sucks, but we'll see it eventually, And if this means that the quality can be even better and they can do what they want to do correctly, all for it.
I am on record as having not I thought the movie was really good, but I didn't love it or anything. The first one, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but it is what I feel. And so because of that, this doesn't really affect me much. I wasn't like super looking forward to the sequel, but it sucks for Sony and it sucks for all the people who were looking forward to this, because I think that the lack of Miles Morales on screen in any capacity is not a good thing. And Sony is not going to have another hit. Morbius was a massive bomb. We're going to talk about Madam Web in just a sec. That's going to not do well. I'm sorry. So this is what they can hang their hat on.
I beg to differ on that one, Sean, but go ahead.
Okay. This is what they hang their hat on, and now it's not coming out for a whole other year. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. From a studio perspective, it's a shame, but similar to Tyler, if this just means that we're gonna get a better end product, I'm down. And if they're doing both parts at the same time, it also makes sense because it's a longer joint project that ideally they want to keep to the 1 year sort of spacing. They're not finishing this and then, oh yeah, it's coming out in a year and then it turns out it's going to come in 2 years, because I feel like that would be more annoying. So I'd rather them focus the stuff, bang both out if they have to right now, and give us the one and then follow up with the next.
Can I ask a question to you guys? If this means, like say hypothetically, this delay means that they can add another Spider-Man into the movie, who would you pick?
Oh, fucking who else could there be? Fuck.
Ben Reilly.
I wouldn't hate
I think
that.
that's fair. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Is Spider-Man 2099 confirmed? Right, he is, right?
Yeah,
so.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was at the end of the last one.
And I think Peter Parker, the Indian Spider-Man, I think is also semi-confirmed.
I don't
right.
I don't know if this is possible, but this would be sick if they included the video game Spider-Man.
Oh, from Spider-Man Run, the mobile game?
No.
I know what you mean. You mean
Here we go.
Spider-Man, the animated series scene creator.
Oh, Spider-Man the animated series Spider-Man would be amazing.
The one where he gets MJ and then she evaporates?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like a meme, yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
I would want Supaida-man, the Japanese mech Spider-Man.
He's in it.
Is he going to be in
confirmed.
this?
Yeah.
Oh,
They,
shit.
yeah, he was part of the secret the secret styles or whatever they did in the first tease.
Okay, I'm in. That's good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So he'll be there.
Yeah.
Punk rock Spider-Man, I guess.
Spider-Punk, yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Punk would be cool.
Kefis says Jessica Drew. That'd be cool.
I love Jessica Drew, but I think she has I guess this doesn't negate that, but I think she has a big screen future. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Yeah, I mean, this, again, just an announcement about a delay. Not much to say about it, I guess. It sucks for fans of it. We'll see it when we see it. I don't know. In more Sony news, though, they did also release the release date for Madam Web, July 7th, 2023. They haven't shot a single moment.
That's not what it looks like on the.
Yeah, I could show you that. I could link you to that movie later.
All right.
They haven't shot a single moment of the film yet, so a lot of legwork to do really soon. Interestingly enough, though, it's being suggested that this could actually turn into something other than Madam Web.
No kidding. Almost like there's not really a story there.
Right, exactly. That it probably ends up being a Spider-Woman movie. Now, when we first talked about this, I said that I thought what they would do is they would have Madam Web be a character in the movie who bestows Jessica Drew with powers that make her Spider-Woman. But if you're going to do that, why would you call the movie Madam Web instead of Spider-Woman, which would inevitably make way more money? I don't get it.
Unless
so
it's
we'll
a working
see how this
title currently. They can easily.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't talk about it, but Sydney Sweeney also got cast in this movie. So
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Dakota Johnson and a Sydney Sweeney led spider-themed movie. That's buckets right there. Buckets of money.
Tyler, what was you said you disagreed that you
I
thought
think that's why, because they cast Sydney Sweeney in it. She's so hot right now. In Mugatu voice, like with Euphoria being a thing. Like this is like one of those like real, like she's got like a fan base behind her. Mostly like creepy dudes, but like there's also like the youth that are into it. So I don't know. I think it. Let me bring it. Pat Patterson brought back an old episode. Let me bring back the "could be good" catchphrase from the show. I think there's a possibility there. With the right cast.
So what you're saying is you have faith in a Sony movie.
I have faith in a Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney movie.
But it's different than a Sony movie.
Actors don't write scripts, man.
Yeah. They don't build CGI.
We'll
I don't know. I would love a good Spider-Woman movie. Spider-Woman's the shit, but Sony ain't the ones to make that happen, unfortunately.
Who would be the other character here? So it's a younger Madam Web, and then assumingly Jessica Drew, and those would be the two characters.
Possibly. I mean, we don't know nothing because there's no Madam Web stories.
Yeah, could be another. It doesn't even necessarily have to be Jessica Drew. It could be another Spider-Woman. There are like 14 of them.
Watch the villain be just another symbiote. It's like, oh, Scream's in this one. Shriek is in this.
Shriek again?
Was Shriek in Venom 2? I didn't see Venom 2.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Oh, well.
Shriek 2 Electric Boogaloo.
All right, let's do a round of good idea, bad idea. How about that?
Okay.
So, here's a good idea. Image Comics published a book called "The Secret History of the War on Weed." Now, good idea. Publish a book about weed on 420. That's perfect synergy. 420 happened to be on comic book day, new comic book day. Might as well get a book about weed out there. And not just a book about weed, an informative book about, the government's terrible track record when it comes to the quote unquote war on weed / drugs. That's great. Makes perfect sense. Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Publish an NFT inspired Bored Ape Yacht Club variant cover for said comic. Now, that sentence that I just said might make no sense to you, but I got you. So, Bored Ape Yacht Club is a series of NFTs that they do where it's basically just like a poorly drawn image of an ape. Yeah. And if you own one, they're quite expensive. If you own one, it basically gives you access to like secret private meetings and different like exclusive stuff like that. It's like it's very exclusive to own one of these images.
And again, the new Illuminati sucks.
And again, if you own an NFT, it's yours, and all that good stuff. Even though like we're just showing this. Well, I guess they did sell it. Whatever.
I've already called the police on Tyler, so they should be coming. I hit any day.
Right click save as on my computer. So,
and so this set the internet ablaze. Comics Twitter was angry. So I think that a lot of people who are mad about this don't necessarily understand what it is. I'm not happy about it either. Like we broke it down as good idea, bad idea for a reason. But Image didn't mint any NFTs here. They're only publishing a cover with the Bored Ape Yacht Club ape on it. How were they able to do this is the question. And I got an answer. So as it turns out, of course, the internet is full of sleuths. And we found out that, and this is courtesy of Chris Ross, who is a comics letterer and designer, who found out that the owner of the NFT is actually Jeff Boysen, who is the director of sales and publishing planning for Image Comics.
No way.
Yes. So the reason that Image was able to do this is because one of their own people owns the rights to that image and allowed them to use it.
That's cool.
And they were selling the cover for $20, and they were able to raise $10,000 total, and they gave away the proceeds allegedly of the from what they got for this image.
$20? That's a crime.
I think there was like also intentions. There was also intentions to give out this variant at those Bored Ape Yacht Club events as well. Is that true, Sean?
That's pretty funny.
I haven't seen that. What I saw was that they made 5,000 covers. They or 450 copies. I'm sorry, 450 copies, and they sold them. They sold out. They made $9,000 off of it.
I will say, for a 450 print run, $20 is not a bad price point.
No,
for a variant. No, for a variant, because it's essentially a variant. If you're looking at like a $450 variant, like 450 print variant, I feel like would go for much more money if it were any other book.
Yeah, it's a print run of 500, so I don't know what they did with the other 50.
I think that's where it went to events. They handed them out. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that comic book publishers should be dealing with NFTs, point blank. Forget about what you think about NFTs. The fact is that this industry is completely against it. It's just against it. An Image cannot afford to tarnish their image by getting involved with stuff like this. It's just not a good idea. It's a bad idea.
So in the Bleeding Cool article that kind of aggregated this sleuthing for what's going on with this cover, they mentioned that I believe Scott Kolbush and Brian Posehn are also heavily involved in NFTs.
Yes.
So
that's the creative team on the book.
G.
The Venn diagram of like proclaiming that I smoke weed and I also like NFTs is a circle. I feel like it's just, I don't know. It's just such a, like a, I don't know if a better word, but like it's kind of douchey. Like the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, I own this. I mean, to be fair, this is like the first practical usage of somebody owning an NFT and doing something with it physically that I've seen. But also, he's doing it with a company that he already works for, and it kind of seems like a conflict of interest in a way. But even though he's not really making money off of it, so it's a weird kind of gray area. But
allegedly, they donated the proceeds to organizations that are helping people who are casualties of the immoral drug war that America has waged on weed. That's cool. I think there are other ways to do it. I don't know.
Do they talk about I haven't read the comic. I have it downloaded. But do they talk about the race disparity and incarcerations for weed? I hope so.
I haven't read the book. I didn't even buy it. But I hope they do. I mean, Jesus.
I haven't cracked it open yet.
Yeah. So that's our good idea, bad idea for the week. Image, be more careful. Think about these things.
It's not their fault. They were on another stratosphere, and they're like, what's a really good idea, guys? Write this down. Write this down right now.
They were high.
Right. Yeah, this does sound like a high idea.
Hit up our boy Jeff. He knows what to do.
Also, Jerry Duggan completely silent on this whole thing.
Totally silent.
Good.
Yes, hasn't said a word. Probably. I mean,
probably won't.
Doesn't care. Yeah,
probably for the better. Yeah.
Don't say anything.
Chillmonger in the chat says that the other 50 of the 500 print run are 9.8 comics and never left the CGC.
And if it's CGC currently, you won't see that for at least 12 months.
So let's talk about George Perez. It's never a bad idea to talk about George Perez, right? So George Perez's birthday is coming up, and DC has found a way to celebrate that. His birthday's June 9th, and they are going to be putting out all throughout the month of June a 2-page celebration spread in every single comic that they publish that basically just features pretty much all the major players at DC as far as characters are concerned. But in the forefront are the characters that George is generally most associated with, like the new Teen Titans and the Justice League and Darkseid and there's like a whole bunch of characters. Like it's like pretty much a who's who of DC. The cool thing about this is, so Dan Jurgens was tasked with coming up with the layout and the overall design of the piece, but then they actually got a ton of all-star artists to work on the individual character designs. So for example, Jim Lee teamed up with Scott Williams to do the Monitor and Anti-Monitor. Trigon was done by Todd McFarlane. The Spectre was Alex Ross. Darkseid was was Walt Simonson. Ares and Hippolyta was Phil Jimenez. Dave Gibbons did the Vigilante. Cheshire was done by Joel Jones. I'm skipping around a little bit. Bruno Redondo did Shimmer. Dan Moore did Neutron and Jinx. Francis Manipold did the entire Legion of Superheroes.
There's 4 of them there. So,
well, Dan Jurgens and Norm Ratman did the Justice League of America. Ivan Reis did Superboy Prime and Alexander Luthor. Gary Frank did Supergirl. Nicholas Scott did Jericho and Cole. And Jose Luis Garcia Lopez is credited for the new Teen Titans, Deathstroke, and George Perez himself.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Boy, looking at this image, the only one I can tell that's different, like off the bat, is the Spectre. Like everyone else, like they look like they could be Perez drawings to me.
I never would have guessed if I didn't have this. If I hadn't read this article ahead.
Yeah,
I never would have guessed. That's
the best McFarlane stuff I've seen in a while.
It's the only McFarlane stuff I've seen in a while.
Fair, yeah. Also, that costume for Supergirl is my favorite one with the headband. It's so good.
It would be her worst era.
I think it's a good costume.
It's also worth pointing out that there will also be this same tribute will be a variant cover for Dark Crisis #7. And we also learned that each cover of Dark Crisis is going to reflect a previous crisis from DC's history.
Damn, that's awesome. This is cool. This is cool to be able to celebrate somebody, and I feel like the industry doesn't do it enough, or when they do, it's it's already past. The person is not there to celebrate it anymore,
or it's half-hearted to a certain degree.
It's like just like an in memory of kind of situation. And I think that this is the kind of thing that you need to do for these kinds of just legends of the industry. They're so important in so many kinds of different ways, and in light of how his health has been, George is an all-around seemingly really nice guy, and somebody that we should treat with respect like that. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm all about it. Sean, your boy is in between Trigon and Spectre over there.
Who?
You'll recognize him.
Oh.
I just saw it.
I did too. It took me a minute.
I don't know if he'll recognize him. That's the thing.
No, maybe not, right?
Listeners might be able to take a guess without even see it.
Let me see.
I guess while you look, I will say, like, I agree that it's cool that we get to celebrate him while George is still here.
Yeah.
So, because, it also, George, fantastic shirt collection. I just got to say it off the top. And I like that they can kind of capture that in this tribute piece.
They know what's up.
Yeah.
Oh, is this Wildcat?
There we go.
Is this that Wildcat I'm always hearing about?
What is Wildcat?
Listen, I said it on Thursday. I'll say it now. Fuck Wildcat. How about that?
Yikes.
Fucking rude.
Fuck him.
So rude. So rude.
I thought he was Catman.
Oh, dude, I got good Catman stories if you want good Catman stories.
I like Catman more. How about that? Let me give me a Catman story. I want Catman. Catman should be in this image.
Harris says, no one asked, how is Wildcat? I agree.
Just walk up to him and punch him in the face.
Snake of Talons, what is up? Thank you for joining. Welcome.
Did you guys see the Perez tribute in Marvel Comics this week?
No.
I think I caught it.
It is it's much more somber. I believe it's a page of like his Avengers era team. And they're all drinking, and it says like drinking like a Cheers sort of thing. It says once an Avenger, always an Avenger. And in my head, I'm like, he's not dead yet, guys. Like,
right? Good grief!
I thought it was a little, a lot darker than what DC's doing. DC's like celebrating it, while Marvel was like, it felt like a funeral.
Well, I mean, like DC, like they've made a shit ton of money off his designs, and like, he is the lifeblood of like the DC look. For so long. I
mean, I would argue he is for Marvel too. There's Avengers run with like Busiek, right? I believe that's during the Busiek run.
Yeah.
It modernized a lot of those designs, or at least I would say Ultimates probably is what modern, Marvel looks like. But
I did see this one. That's right. Yeah, it was.
It was weird, right? And it was darkly colored too. It was really dreary and depressing. But I think like outside of like Kirby, I think Perez might be like the comic book artist, especially of an age for sure.
Aren't his designs the one that are used in like for everything outside of comics, like stuff at Party City and like
I think that's
Jose
Luis.
Garcia Lopez.
Yeah, I think that's who you're thinking of. Yeah, but I would say like another one of those artists would be that guy. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, George. Well, I guess we have to wait until June 9th. Hey, another June baby joining Tyler and I.
Yep.
Tyler, when's your birthday?
19th. 619. Booyaka.
Hey, that's so cool, dude. I'm 616. I never thought about that until now today.
Cool. Really?
Wow.
Yeah, somehow. I never thought about that.
That's cool. But like anytime I like it's in my email, it's like 619. Like, oh, you like Rey Mysterio? I'm like, no, it's my fucking birthday. But yes, I do like Rey Mysterio. So
we should do something. We should do a joint birthday celebration here live on the show.
Sure, and just screw Marco and Cal, I guess.
I'll dress up
on the show.
Well, for patrons.
For patrons, I think that's like an OnlyFans thing.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Okay, you heard it here.
Ooh,
you gotta screw Marco and Kale on the OnlyFans. Sign up.
Get it
I'll
while
have
it's
a
hot.
link in the description.
Yeah. All right. So, in our main topic, we are taking off of a question that Kefis actually asked us in our Discord server. And we're going to answer, are comics in danger of going extinct? The big two often will publish books and make decisions behind the scenes that are aimed at fans who are older, fans from a bygone era, people who, maybe are 40 now and grew up and cut their teeth on comics from the 70s and 80s and, even 90s. And we've seen a revival of a lot of those books lately with stuff like the Ben Reilly mini that they did, the X-Men stuff, some of the X-Men stuff that they've done that I think was called X-Men Legends, which I think they're still doing. A lot of stuff like that, especially Marvel, coming from Marvel. And there's not a lot of tremendous marketing and exposure work done to bring in a new crop of fans. So we're going to answer the question of, is enough work being done to cultivate that next generation? Is that even possible? If that doesn't happen, what's the future of comics? Twitch fan, we'll be back in 5 minutes or less. Thank you for waiting. Be right back. Yo soy Magneto. That sound means we're back live. Thank you guys for waiting. If you are still with us, whether that's on Twitch, YouTube, audio platforms, anywhere, leave us a like, leave us a comment saying you're enjoying the show. Leave us a rating or review. Wherever you're listening to us, there's a way to do that. We appreciate all the support as we dive into our main topic. So before we start the chat, before we start talking about it, Tyler, why don't you go ahead and read Kefis's question?
That I can do. So, okay, pals, I have a question. Sadly, comics seems to be an aging hobby with a lot of fans being 40-plus white guys. Or at least this seems to be what the big two think. How accurate do you think this is, and where do you think the future lies? Side note, BS like Comicsgate and the release of the Snyder Cut seems to support this, but solid indie publishers like Boom and Ahoy are trying new things that are really interesting.
So we talked about new publishers. We talked about indie publishers earlier and how they're changing the game just from a creator-owned standpoint. But that wrinkle that you're adding where they are doing things that are leaning into diversity, leaning into, in some instances, fresh concepts, and stuff like that, that definitely plays a role in this conversation. So obviously this is a very big picture conversation, so it's kind of just open-ended. What do you guys think?
I think
go for it.
I was gonna say I think there is room for both. Especially when talking about the big two, they have huge ass corporations behind them, where what happens in the comics market doesn't really matter to them, which could be a bad thing potentially, especially with like DC and Warner Discovery and all that. But there is room for, like, especially with Marvel, there's room for that symbiote Spider-Man or a Maestro story where the old guard can really enjoy that. And from what I hear, pretty good books in their opinions. You know, these are, you know, people who have read those eras with those creators. And then there's also room for books like Superman with John Kent, books like Naomi, or books like, you know, Miss Marvel. I think there is room for both. I think how it is consumed is where the question is. Because honestly, I think my gut tells me the single issue comic book is not long for this earth in the way it is now. It just doesn't seem like a viable medium long term. I think there will be stuff like I think there will always be like a Batman book on the stands or something like that, but I think it would be significantly reduced in favor of more of a graphic novel sort of thing, or something similar to digest books, which Marvel's dipped their toe into for the YA audience. I think one thing we just have to realize is that picking up comic books physically every Wednesday is a niche group. It is a collector's hobbyist thing. Which I'm just coming to terms with, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to have to do with the format in which these books are read. I think the big two right now have to do a lot of work to gain those new audiences, and I think the way to do so is through and they've done some of it through that YA audience. We report, I think, almost every year at this point, the past 2-3 years, that the YA sector is the largest growing in terms of comics, in terms of just overall market share. It overshadows a large portion of weekly and, you know, trade paperback comic books. And I've been reading the Boombox stuff. A lot of those books are honestly just a lot of fun, really good for, I would assume, anywhere from like a 10 to 15-year-old range, and they're still just enjoyable. There's a large market there to capture, and I think that that's sort of what they need to be doing. To their credit, the DC, what was the book that Isaac Goodhart was on? It's like a Catwoman book or something. Within within that space, they're making those moves, but there needs to be a more concerted effort towards that, because I think that's how you're going to court people into either Big Two Comics, or even with Boom, like, not that, right? You're going to get people who want to just read. And I think the weekly format, the monthly format of floppies is not viable for those people who want to come in, because I don't assume that somebody's going to go to a catered specific shop just for this thing on a weekly basis. That's a lot of work. Whereas if you have this, we had talked about this maybe a week or two back, but having the books in like Barnes and Nobles and just general bookstores, having those kind of partnerships and relationships, I think will help bring comics to a larger audience. So I think it lies in the distribution. I think the answer lies in the distribution, in the format, and what specific audiences you're catering towards, because manga does this really well, where they break out things by genre. You have your shonen stuff, you have your you know, you want your horror, your adventure, your
Isekais,
superhero,
isekai,
whatever,
right?
Yeah. You have your shoujo, you have, you know, women led, women catered, you have your young kid catered. Like, there's just a segmentation of the market there that I think is done, that is really smart and really successful, that isn't done so here. It's just kind of these are the books and these are the IP, and that's sort of where your entry point is. Whereas you should have an ability to be like, hey, this is this character but for this younger audience, or this is this character for this older audience, like a Black Label. I don't think that there's a clean distinction for somebody who is new, or for somebody who wants to get somebody into it, like a gift, right? You're gonna go pick up whatever, the Batawang book right? And you don't know because you're just somebody who wants to introduce somebody to Batman, and because they seem to be interested in it, and they go and they see a full-on penis, right? Like, that's not the thing. That's not what we're trying to do here. But you give them that Catwoman loan. Like,
Why
that
was
Catwoman
that
book.
your example?
I'm just saying, it's just like it's not the content you want to be giving somebody who's coming straight into this kind of stuff, because there's a lot of
Someone's
catering
coming, all right, that's for sure.
there's a lot of catering that can be done, and I think that hasn't been successful from the big two or comics in general, and it's starting now, I think.
If I could just add like another wrinkle here too, is the younger audience. There is a money issue going on too. Like there is a wage disparity with generations, where a single issue comic book, especially if you're looking at our Sean, our buddy Joker, like that's like a $7 issue. Like a kid, the audience that people want is like, yeah, with the 18 to 25 demographic, at least I know, like that's the one, like it's like a tasty audience to get. They don't have money for that, you know.
Yeah.
Right now, it doesn't exist. The people who have the money and it's expendable are the older guard that can do it. I'm in a lot of like toy Facebook groups, and like those are the people who have expendable income.
You?
Yeah. Don't look behind me.
Yeah, I think that, you know, you hit the nail on the head right there. I think comics are too expensive, and they're prohibitively expensive for most people. Mm-hmm. In the sense that, like, yeah, most people could afford to pay $4 for one single comic, but who's gonna just read one single comic? You know, like if you buy one singular comic and that's all you ever bought, okay, sure. But the idea is that you're going to follow this over time. And so once you think about it that way, then it's like, okay, well, this book's going to come out once a month for 12 months. I'm going to pay $4 each. I'm not a mathematician, but that's like $48 or something like that. That's iffy. And that's one book. Like, you might be able to justify that if you only want to read Black Panther. But what if you decide you want to read Captain America? What if you really like the X-Men? Now you're getting into territory that's really expensive. And when you compare the value for your dollar to something like Disney Plus, there's no contest. It's not even close. Especially
when, you know, when someone brought this comment up in the Discord, and I was trying to find it to go over that conversation again. But the time spent on these books is 15 to 20 minutes. And that's if you know, really take the time with it. So the stuff just isn't valuable in that sense.
Yeah, the value pop for the time invested is nothing. And I think this is where like Marvel Comics Unlimited and DC Universe, those are much more appealing to someone, because I mean it is a subscription method that people are used to now. That is just a thing people do. That is a facet of life that you will have to pay for. It's death, taxes, and subscriptions at this point.
Netflix.
Well, maybe not Netflix anymore, but Comixology Unlimited is another one of them. Maybe not much anymore because that thing kind of turned to shit. But like the younger people, especially on Twitter, I try to follow the youths in the comic sphere with their fan accounts and all that stuff. Seems to be a lot of Marvel Unlimited for that stuff. Just being able to gorge on as many comics as possible for what, $5 a month. That is one normal issue of a comic, and you can read everything with a 6-month gap. You're following kids on Twitter. Got it. Not okay. All right. I'm not the Night Stalker of Twitter. Let's anyway, I think that comics have been niche. I think that like the way we talk about it sometimes is like as if it's only very recently that comics have been niche. I think comics are niche, and they've been niche for a long time. And
That's not going to change. That will never change. There is no way that comics compete with manga. Here's a fact. Comic books are very expensive to produce. Here's another fact. Comics creators have to get paid. And you cannot make comic books at $2 anymore and feed everybody.
Well,
and that's
unless you're backed by Disney. Oh, wait.
I mean, that has nothing to do with Image or, Boom or whoever else. That, simply can't afford to put out a $2 book. Marvel probably couldn't either. I bet if comics were $2, Marvel would get closed, and so would DC. I don't think that's sustainable. And something that I recently read was that, manga has to reckon with the fact that their creators, basically a lot of them work on near slave wages. They're getting severely underpaid. That's never going to work in American comics. You can't have it both ways. You can't have cheap comics and creators who are paid well, which everybody complains about. That's never going to happen. But you also can't have, people don't want expensive comics where creators are paid well, So we're kind of at like a catch-22 situation where what is the future of comics? And it could be digital, but does that mean they're going to be cheaper? No, of course not. Comics will never get cheaper. It's never going to happen.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
I think that becomes a question of where do you minimize costs? Because assumingly you produce a trade that's easier to produce than you would individual comics, you get different costs involved in that, and so therefore you're able to decrease that price just based off of the bulk that you're able to actually print out. So there's some scalability there that starts to lean into that production. The question obviously is that you originally make those first issues, first as issues, you have to recoup some of that, so you increase the price on the individual trades. If graphic albums in Europe are better priced because they are printed at that larger volume, at that larger scale, specifically for the book, not necessarily for individual printing, and that plays a factor to some of the costing.
I think that we have no evidence in American comics of that.
Well, because we don't do it.
Well, our OGNs are like $25.
Yeah.
It's better than 40 for like 4 issues though, right?
Yeah, but that's Marvel Comics putting out Inferno hardcover. I think that is an outlier. It's an event. It's kind of different. I don't think like I don't balk at that price because I know the game. It's a Marvel event. Yeah, sure.
You're conditioned to it. And also I think in those hardcovers you got a lot more back matter and stuff. So there is additional value. But those are for the collectors. The trade will be for, I almost said normies, but like the trade will be for the more casual reader.
The normies, yeah, you're not wrong.
The paperback.
Yeah, that exactly. It's like if you buy a regular book, right? Like just a non-comics book, if you want it up front, that hardcover is going to be expensive. They're not cheap. So yeah.
The European market, is also, we don't get to see a lot of the stuff behind the scenes because so much of it is blocked by a language barrier, but a lot of their stuff is very, they have a lot of the same problems that the American market do. Their creators are underpaid. There's a huge, diversity gap. I would imagine there's a reason Elsa Chartier works for the American publishers.
Yeah, I think that there is a problem that's never going to go away there. And, when you talk about who's keeping the industry afloat from a sales standpoint, I do think that a lot of it is those diehards who've been reading comics. Like, no one here has been reading comics for less than 10 years, right? I'm pushing on I'm pushing on 20 years. I think Kale, you probably are too. Like,
I'm past it now. Yeah.
oh, all right, yeah, there you go.
So,
So like that's just kind of the nature of the beast. I could probably think of one person that I know who started reading comics within the last 5 years. Um, it's just not it's not the kind of industry that's going to attract new readers on a mass scale. I don't think so. I think manga has a hot hand, but it's affordable at a cost to the creators that American people will never be okay with. We're hardly okay with it now, you know?
Even if like American comics shifted to a black and white medium and they did like if they did manga, I don't think people would buy it. I think
No,
there's just
I would
there's
not.
especially now.
I would stop reading
yeah.
comics that same day.
Colored comics is such an integral part of the American superhero comics medium.
Yeah.
That
American
said, though,
comics.
you know, there was a time, pre 90s where books were on stands at, newsstands or whatever, and books did sell millions of copies. I think, a big problem, Marco brought up the distribution. I think a big problem is putting comics in plain sight. Comic shops aren't easy to find, especially if you're in middle America, or if you're in a town that's, not huge. If you can get comics in a place where people are, they'll do better. Not at the price they are, but we've discussed that. But in a newsstand or something where people will see them.
I think there's some truth to that, but I also think comics have been available at Barnes and Noble at least since I started reading them. We saw the Walmart initiative that DC did. I think Marvel did something with them too.
The Walmart initiative wound up being speculators just buying up all the copies. Like,
yep,
Yeah.
There's just no evidence that there is this hidden group of people who are just waiting to be tapped into that are going to be the next wave of avid comics readers. I think that the stories that are being told outside of the big two can and would appeal to people who don't read comics, but I think the fact that they are comics at all is the reason they're not being read.
The only reason why I challenge the idea that there isn't some sort of hidden market is because Webtoons is so big. Webtoons as a specific place to consume comics in a different format, it surpasses everything on the entire comics market in terms of views, in terms of interaction, in terms of ways that creators even get paid. They end up making Netflix shows that get produced. There's a different audience there that is grown to read comics in a different way, and there's a lack of adaptation from current publishers. I like the Marvel Infinite Scroll thing because I think that's them catering towards that specific market that they know they have not been able to penetrate because they don't read they don't read physical. They don't read regular formatted comics with panels on a page. They read a different sort of style, a different sort of variation on pictures juxtaposed with words. And it's that market that they need to cater to, that if you could dip your toe in there, which DC tried to do, I don't know, I checked it maybe last week, and the sum total, they had like something 1.2 million people subscribed to it. They had over, I think each chapter 100 or anywhere between 100 to 150K reads on each individual one.
Are you talking about the Batman webtoon stuff?
Yeah, okay. The Bat Family stuff.
Isn't that free?
It's only free if you read 5, and then the rest you have to pay.
And, the old drug dealer method.
And there's just people there. There is an audience there, and that example is a drop in the bucket of what the rest of Webtoons is. So I would challenge that is the audience there, that because the publishers don't put out in a format that is understood to that group, they're not willing to make the transition.
Catfish says no, Bat Family is free weekly. You can buy more to get early access.
Go
ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say, I think Marco's right. I think the only way comics as a medium can actually grow is if they lean full into digital. I think it's stagnant if they're still stuck with the comic. And I love comic book shops with my heart, but I don't think the future isn't there. You know, the youth don't read comics that way. They're like imagine if with your purchase of a Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness ticket, you got a 7-day subscription to Marvel Comics Unlimited with it, like a code. Imagine how that can grow that, you know, just based on the people who forget to unsubscribe alone. Like it's just, I think that's where you grow your audience, and you can lead into the Infinite Comics stuff, which Marvel really has been doing. There's been a lot of Infinite Comics out there. And they've been catering to that. There's an Alligator Loki Infinite comic. You would not see an Alligator Loki physical comic out there. That ain't happening. But I think that's how it grows. I don't think it grows as long as comics as a medium is beholden to comic book shops and their complaints with digital comics. That fight that we've been having for over a decade at this point, for comics to grow, I think it's got to go in the digital way.
We have a first-time chat from Kenny OVO who says, there are so many manga readers. I'd say there definitely is a market for new comic readers. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Leave us a follow if you haven't. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I think manga and Western comics are different. I think they're really different. I think that, you know, when you talk about the differences between them, you're talking about the length of a standard manga volume versus like a standard comic, price differential. The price of comics is prohibitive. It just is. And I don't know how you can get around that. I really don't. Yeah.
If there's a way to funnel, because it's more cost effective, I think typically there's a younger audience involved, right? Mm-hmm. So for Western comics, it becomes how do we attract the people that are aging out of, let's say, a Naruto or Boruto, or not necessarily aging out, but are now finding that financial stability to be able to be like, okay, how do you expand beyond manga, and how do we get you to come here and purchase now, because you've entered an ability to be able to pay a bit more for your comics. What?
Have you actually entered the stage of your life where you can pay a bit more for comics?
No, but I'm saying by comparison, we're like we all pay for it right now, right? Like,
I mean, you've heard all the stories of Marco's personal life. Yeah, he has.
I don't mean him personally. I meant like he was saying like, you know, I meant like the royal you, I guess.
But I mean more so as like somebody, an audience that will pick up manga because it's cheaper as they grow older. Assumingly, you will get more income over time, and by being able to do so, you have more disposable income. You can use that for. You're still into comics. You can use that for comics.
Too much competition. And
I also don't think it works because manga is such a singular vision, where Western comics aren't. If I'm growing up reading the entirety of Naruto or One Piece, where it's like this one dude's story, and I get to live with that character in that world, in a particular vision, and then I jump into a Spider-Man book where there's a new artist and a new writer every other week. It's not the same, resets. You know? Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my goodness, I think comics are like on average $2 more expensive than when I started reading them. I want to say, maybe $1 more. Depends. Marvel comics are like $2 more than when I started.
Drawing the line at $2.99, was it, or $3.99? Remember that
old $2.99.
$2.99.
$2.99. Yeah.
Now it's $6.99 for Joker. Finale's next month, guys. No,
You're gonna like it.
Yeah, Tyler, I wouldn't know that, dude. I don't read Joker. I haven't been keeping up at all. I don't own every single issue.
I don't know that. It's definitely not a fantastic book.
No,
it's whatever. No, it's hard.
Yeah, how would you know that? Jack Darius says, turn comic shops into bars, cafes, a place where you can buy comics if physical is your thing, but it's also a place you can spend time and read. There's also a social aspect. Then, yeah, I think
I've been seeing that.
Yeah, one of the things that attracts people to comic shops is the social aspect. And I think that if you lean into that, that might be a good thing. You could do things like book clubs. You could really create engagement that hopefully leads to sales. I just don't know if that necessarily brings in new readers. And unfortunately, one of the problems that comics has, and we kind of alluded to it earlier, is that some amount of the fan base is a little bit toxic and has been gatekeepy and has kept out and continues to want to keep out women, minorities, people of different gender identities. And that can be a scary thing.
So let's definitely give those people alcohol.
Yo, that's what my shop used to do.
Honestly, might loosen them up.
They used to do they used to close like the little gates. Whoever was in there past 7:00, get a little drink going, and you just talk about whatever happened in this week's Daredevil or some shit.
There is a new comic shop that opened up near me. A lot of comic shops near me, surprisingly. But they are pretty much half comic shop, half tabletop place.
Yeah.
It's essentially, it looks like, when I go in there, it looks like the YMCA for indoor kids.
Yeah. Yep. That's always, that was my experience growing up outside big cities too. It's everyone that's there is over in the tabletop spot, and I'm wandering the long boxes trying to find what I want.
Yeah, which I don't know if it actually leads to any kind of cross pollination. I know Marvel's trying it with a new tabletop RPG they just announced, like Nexus. So I don't know, but
it's weird because when I was a kid, when I was like 11, I grew up going to what was a comic book shop called Bulletproof Comics and Games, and that's actually where I met Harris and like a lot of people that I'm still friends with to this day. And we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh there, and they had a bunch of comics, right? They had like a few different displays that were just comics, and I literally never paid attention to it.
Yeah.
Literally never paid attention. I became an activated comics reader another way. Like, I had a comic shop that I went to every single week, and I never touched a comic. Doesn't make any sense. But I feel like there's a lot of it's too much. It's overwhelming. That's how I felt. Like, I don't even know where to start. I'm seeing characters that I know, but I don't know what the hell is going to happen on the inside of that book. I don't know what the story is. I don't know anything about it. And I was a kid. I didn't have the money to spend on that. I only had enough to enter the tournament. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons why comics are where they are right now. And I don't have like I'm not worried about the future of comics, because I think that at the end of the day, people will make comics. Yeah. I think that Marvel will probably exist, maybe if not forever, at least for the rest of our lifetimes. I don't see Marvel going away. And I think a lot of the fans who are, older, have been fans for a while, are going to keep the industry alive. You look at something like Spawn, right? You look at like the Kickstarter for that did over 1 million. What the hell? Over 1 million. That's crazy.
How are Spawn fans making more money than me?
I think people will pay for what they want, and I think that comics could do a better job of marketing the books and trying to get them into the hands of people who could be a fan, but just don't know about them or don't know where to get them. But ultimately, I personally don't believe that there are enough people who are yet to be activated as comics readers to create another boom. I don't believe that there will be another boom for comics.
He's activated. I'm like, are there like comic book sleeper agents out there? Like,
yeah, right. That's the idea. Shenron says, "I told you guys, Spawn fans are built different." Absolutely,
it's true. It's true.
Preach. Any last
so
words?
Jack Ryan mentioned same day new release issue, new issue release dates on unlimited services would be great too. Yeah, it would be great to let the comic book shops though, because it would not be good for them. And I think that's the only reason we don't have them.
Yeah, I think so.
To your last point, Sean, I think that people will at the end of the day always make comics regardless of where the industry ends up going. I've shown you guys this, but I don't know if I've ever shown it on stream, but this is Scoots. This is a 13-page independent comic by a kid who, when I bought it, was maybe 12, 13. His name is Jackson Janes, and he was selling this in my local comic shop. And these are the people that these are the kids that we court with comics. These are, at the end of the day, the next generation of readers, of writers, and that market will continue to grow because people will always continue to have kids, and we will pass that stuff down. Even Kefis in the chat, he's a father. His kids read that stuff, and he's always asking for recommendations, and that's good. That's good. That is what helps the industry at the end of the day, and inspiring people to be able to create and read.
Is this the Disney grooming I keep hearing about on the news?
He lets his kids read that stuff.
I did ever tell you, like, I picked up as a kid, I went to like a comic shop with my dad, and I picked up an issue of Uncanny X-Men. It was like a beat up issue. It was a beat up first appearance of Emma Frost. It was like a flea market or something, and I took it, and it was only like 25 cents or something.
You definitely, if this is what I think it is,
I don't think
you definitely haven't said it on this show.
Yeah, but when I opened it up, every single woman was drawn with garters in it. It was like hand drawn. It was like a pervert's issue, but like that's how I got into comics, but like no, but it was my dad's collection that really got me into it. That was not the same thing. My dad did not draw, and
just want to make sure we got that right.
I feel like Emma Frost has gotten a lot of people into comics.
I got like three versions of her first appearance. Just saying.
There you go. Just put Emma Frost in more books, and they'll sell more. I think that's the key.
Easy.
Yeah. Less Jean Grey.
I also wanted to say that I don't feel like comics are in a dire situation.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I think that the fact that it is a niche and the expectations are where they are is fine. That's not a problem. I don't think that the comics problem will be a problem for decades yet.
I think if you're in a space where people are talking about innovation, you're still in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Completely agreed. Thank you guys so much for your contributions to this conversation. Chat was amazing. You guys really had a lot to say. If you are listening to this after Saturday, definitely share your comments with us, your thoughts on this hot button subject, wherever it is that you listen to this podcast, be that youtube.com/thecomicspals, be that any audio platform whatsoever. You can write to us at thecomicspals@gmail.com. Of course, you could also join our Discord and join the conversation there. This conversation spawned from the Discord. Thank you to Kefis for that. Kefis, a Patreon member. You can join us on Patreon and support the show and us so that we can continue to deliver great content to you guys and new stuff, exclusive stuff over there at patreon.com/thecomicspals. If you were to sign up right this second, then you would have access to the first episode of our new show, Palin' Around, where we just get together and talk about, whatever we feel like talking about. This time we talked about, origin stories of a certain variety. We told some embarrassing stories from our past. Mine, I told the story of how I learned that I have a dairy allergy, and it was not good. It was not in a good way.
It's good to listen to.
Good to listen to, yeah. The most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me by far. So yeah, if you want to hang out with us on Patreon, go ahead, do that. Whatever tier you feel is justified for you. If not, that's totally okay. There are still plenty of ways you can support the show. Watch this very show live every single Saturday on twitch.tv/the Comics Pals, 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Come hang out with us. It's always a great time. Thursdays for Pals Pulls, 6 p.m. Eastern. Think you'll enjoy it. If you haven't, Kenny OVO joined us live today, and for the first time, hopefully you had a good time. Let's get into the plugs. Kale.
Thanks so much for joining on this episode of the Comics Pals. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TotoInto. That's TOTOINTOW. You can find my work at caleward.com. That's CALEWARD.com. And I have 2 shout outs this week. Don't forget to go to our merch store.
Let's go.
Which we have now. Marco can put a link to that in the Twitch chat quickly. And we can have it anywhere you can find us, really. Get stuff with our faces on it. Because I'm handsome as hell.
Dude gets one haircut.
Hey, chat noticed, okay?
My one haircut of the year. It goes straight to my head, so to speak. My second shout out is if for a long time we pimped out the band Long Friend Time Friend. Well, they're no longer Friend Time Friend. No, just kidding. Listen to them. But if you're into that good boy punk scene still, I want to give a shout out to my friend's band Panda Car. They're the really cool, politically active punk band that is a good flavor. Band from Glasgow, Scottish punk scene, very good.
Kale, I've been watching Scottish Twitch streamers while I work because I can't understand what they're saying, but like I hear speech going on, and I can maybe get a word or two, and I'm like, it makes me feel like I'm in an office without the horribleness of an office. So
yeah, my favorite song of theirs is it's called Sanctimonious, and they you can hear how thick their accents are even while they're singing. Nice. But they're mostly just shouting, "You sanctimonious fuck." So if that appeals to you, by all means.
We should do a music episode of Palin Around. Just throw that out there. Fun. We can teach Marco about Tupac.
Yeah, teach me about Tupac.
Speaking of Marco, plugs.
You can follow me at Mr. Marco Enomoto on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come talk to me. I am finally. I've been putting it off. I'm finally gonna finish the last 6 episodes that I have of Attack on Titan. I've been hearing all the controversy. People have been, I don't know about the end and whatever. I'm gonna go in. I'll probably share my thoughts on the Weeb channel, and I'm gonna start Dr. Stone. I've been hearing really good stuff about that, and so looking to ideally, I want to read this one. So I'm gonna probably start a new manga.
The Weeb channel where?
On the Comics Pals Discord, which you can join and have a further conversation about all the stuff that's going on in anime and manga.
What if link is right down below? Discord.
The Parliament of Trees Discord. Oh!
Tyler.
You could follow me at the Tyler Olson on Instagram and Twitter. I have bought my ticket, and I will be going to C2E2 this year.
Let's go.
If you're gonna be there, let me know.
You bought your flight?
Not yet. I'm gonna train it. I'm gonna chug along for it.
Okay, cool.
It's an overnight train for me, and I can fall asleep easily on trains, and it is much cheaper. So
trains rule, man.
Next is where I'm sleeping. That's the question next. So
hey, listen,
we can talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Was that all?
I got this cool Wolfsbane action figure. Speaking of, she's Irish, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Irish, yeah. She's not Scottish. She's Irish, yeah. So, that's cool. I broke the arm of my Danny Moonstar, so. I fixed it though. I'm handy in that regard. I like the X-Men Marvel Legends is like my thing now, so it's cool.
Jackaray is out here giving you some recommendations, Tyler.
Nightly rate on park benches is very reasonable. In Chicago? Yep.
That'll be the longest sleep of your life. As for me, I'm on Twitter and Instagram only at Sean Soapbox. I'm just really thankful this week to everybody who has supported us for the past 5 years, whether you joined us on Patreon, whether you're just a listener who, enjoys the show and leaves comments. If you listen to the show and you've never left a comment, thank you. We appreciate it. Till next week, we're the Comics Pals signing off. Take care, guys.
See you next week.